Welcome in, everybody. I'm back fresh from my week off last week, little vacation there. Haven't taken one in a little while. Good to see a couple folks here already. A couple peeps. All right, David, Steve, and JB. All right. Doing great, everybody. Cool. So tonight we're going to work on week 7 of 8 for picking techniques. And tonight and next week, we're going to be covering hybrid picking. And by the way, this is all sponsored by Guitar Tricks online. If you're new to playing guitar, you might want to check out Guitar Tricks. They got a ton of great lessons, pre-recorded lessons on their site. Plus, they've got several live instructors like myself on one of them that can help coach anybody that's having any questions with what you're playing and design a lesson plan specifically for you. It's a great site. I don't think anyone will be disappointed. And I suspect that quite a few folks watching tonight are already Guitar Tricks members. Hello, Danny. Good evening to you. Yep. And Jim. Cool. All right, everybody. So let's get this thing started. If you expand the text box underneath the video you're watching, there should be a curriculum link for week 7 of 8. And then while I'm at it too, I know Guitar Tricks has some really cool lessons. I always like kind of adding on top of what I'm doing with everybody, a few lessons that are on Guitar Tricks in the same subject matter that we're doing tonight. So let me just quickly do a quick check on what they got cooking there. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to just, oh, hey, Anders. All right, let me just do that link right there. Cool. So if anyone wants a little additional help with your hybrid picking, you check out that tutorial on Guitar Tricks, and I'll probably throw up one more. We got the Anders, the instructor that's doing this in the Guitar Tricks lesson is Anders. And I'm going to give everyone a few. That one's kind of a medium style hybrid picking lesson. Might not be for someone beginner, but let me see if I can find one real quick. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's just do this too. I'm going to throw another one up on the board for everybody. And there's a second one. Those are two pretty decent Guitar Tricks lessons. Actually, great Guitar Tricks lessons on the hybrid picking style. But if you're new to it, check out what I'm going to go over tonight. I'm going to explain it all to everybody. A lot of country guitar players use hybrid picking quite a lot, kind of that bluegrass country sound. That kind of stuff. Kind of using the pick and the fingers, and I'm going to explain how to get those kind of chicken picking sounds too. We're going to do a little bit of that tonight as well. So tonight, though, we're going to start out with some basic stuff. If you take a look at example 1, it starts up here on the 13th and 12th fret. It sounds like this. Okay. Might even sound better on a Telecaster. Now, unfortunately, I don't own a Telecaster. I've got a lot of other guitars, but that's one on my bucket list. But this would sound great on a Tele. But if you don't have a Tele, maybe you got a Les Paul or a Strat or really any other guitar for that matter, it'll work fine. And this is really good for acoustic too, at least example 1 and 2 and 3. Yeah. Example 1, 2, and 3 today would be perfect to do on acoustic or electric guitars. Once we get into string bending, though, which is in example 4 at the bottom of the page, probably want to have an electric guitar for that because it's really hard to bend acoustic guitar strings, and I wouldn't even bother trying. So just kind of work with that. And if you only have an acoustic guitar, then maybe just sit out on that final example tonight when I go over it. So let's see what we got here. Michael, blues. Yeah. Well, tonight we're going to work on some hybrid picking. I can definitely show some examples using in the blues style too, Michael. Although a lot of the licks I'm going to do here kind of have a little more of a country vibe. but it doesn't matter. You can apply it to Southern rock and blues as well. JB says, what do we do next after week 8? Well, after week 8, JB, well, first off, if you're a Guitar Tricks member, check out those 2 links I posted there. If you're into the hybrid picking, using your pick and fingers to pick at the same time, those 2 lessons I posted are really good. And if someone's not a Guitar Tricks member, you might want to sign up to the site, because I know they've got some money back guarantees, and they've got deals going from time to time on how much the subscription is. So give that a shot. After week 8, JB, I'm going to be shifting into, we're going to do 3 weeks of string bending. That's what I'm going to do. And then after those 3 weeks, I'll figure out something to do with some other subjects that are really cool for most guitar players. Okay. So I'm going to try to cover a lot of different bases. But right now we're going to focus on the hybrid picking tonight and next week. And then after that, I've got 3 weeks on string bending ideas and concepts, which will be real cool. So there you go, JV. Another thing, JV, is if you book a one-on-one lesson with me, you can do that through my website, davesalentano.com, or you can book it with me through Guitar Tricks. On the left side of their homepage, they've got a little area there with a photo of, I think it's me and Mike Olekshi, 2 of the instructors, but there's several other instructors as well. You can book a lesson with me or one of them, and we can help guide you into what to do next. Because as of right now, I can't see or hear anybody. All I can do is read what your comments are. But once we do a one-on-one lesson on Zoom, I can instantly, when I hear and see you play, I can instantly evaluate, see what we got to do. If there's any bad habits you might have picked up, I can help you correct those and give you some exercises to get that straightened up. Okay. So there you go, JV. And you can always write me too, or email me, and we can discuss that privately too. And a bang, hello. Cool. And David's saying, would be nice to have more country on Guitar Tricks. Yeah, there is a lot of country stuff though. In fact, we have country levels 1 and 2 on Guitar Tricks, which are kind of like blues level 1 and 2, and rock level 1 and 2, and acoustic level 1 and 2, which are also on Guitar Tricks. But the country ones, David, focus on the country aspect with, a lot of boom check. Alternating bass, the walking bass lines into different chords, to and from the chords, and then all kinds of other things that they do in country guitar playing. Anders teaches that, and he's got that nailed. I don't think you'd be disappointed. Michael's saying, sir, what guitar you play? Gibson? Yeah, this one's a Gibson, Michael, but the one behind me over there, that's the Wolfgang, Eddie Van Halen Wolfgang Stealth model. And I've got a bunch of others. I got a Strat, a 335 Gibson, got a gold top Gibson Les Paul, which I use for my slide work. And I got a ton of other guitars too. But for right now, we're going to focus on, I'm just going to play my Gibson Les Paul because I really like this one a lot. So there you go, Michael. Cool. So on the hybrid picking concept, folks, you're going to use your pick and finger. And that's what hybrid means. Hybrid means 2 things together, okay? Or 2 different techniques at the same time. So what we're going to do on this example 1, everybody, there's several things in example 1 that I can talk about. First off, if you just get the licks down, you're going to play the 3rd string with your pick always, and the middle finger will always be on the 3rd string for this whole lick going all the way down. Here it is. Okay, it's a short little lick that fits your E chord. The pick will always be on the 3rd string. Your middle finger will always be on the 3rd string. Those are 2 important things to make playing this lick easier. The high string will either be fretted by your index finger if they're in different frets as the middle finger, or like the 3rd one, we're playing 9 on the 3rd and 1st. When I do the notes that are in the same fret on the 3rd and 1st string, I switch to my 3rd finger, or you'll switch to your 3rd finger. the ring finger on that high E. Okay. And then on the picking hand, I'm picking the G, like I mentioned, with the pick, always a downstroke. And then the middle finger is always going to pick the first string. And when you finger pick, the fingers always pick upwards anyway. So you'll never do a downstroke with your fingers in this style of music. Okay. And what's happening is we're doing a little 3-note idea. It's going third string, first string, then a pull off to the open string. And since we're in E major and playing against an E major chord, pulling off to the open E string actually sounds really nice. It's a drone effect you get against the chord. Okay, then the next 3 notes, we're going to move back 2 frets, play the same shape on the 11th fret. Okay, then we move back 2 more frets, play the 3rd string 9th fret, 1st string 9th fret. Okay, then back 2 frets, play the 7th fret. Okay, and then we move back 1 fret, but switch your first finger to the 5th fret, 1st string. And then I pause. So there's a little break about halfway through the lick. It goes. Okay. Now, what's interesting about that, folks, is that it's a 3-note idea. 1, 2, 3. Then the next one, 1, 2, 3. Then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then the last 2 notes, we don't do the pull off. Just let that high note ring. Okay. But even though it's a 3-note lick, we're not going to play it with a triplet feel. We're going to play it, if you look at the music on the page, everyone, they're grouped in 2 notes per beat in 4/4 time. So those are called 8th notes. We're going to count it 1 and 2 and like that. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Actually, let me try it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Like that. Okay? Don't worry about trying to count it and all that. The important thing is just play it evenly. And then when you get to the last note, you pause. Okay? And then we're going to wrap it up by moving down to the 4th fret on the 1st and 3rd string. And we'll do the pull off. Then I go to the 3rd fret, playing a little chromatic idea here. And then I pick just the 3rd and 1st string, let that high note ring for a second. And then I move back another fret, play the 3rd and 1st string at the 2nd fret together. Okay, let that pause for a sec. And then the final one resolves everything with the 1st fret on the 3rd string index finger and open high E. Like that. Okay, so the last part, I mentioned the word chromatic. That means playing several notes in a row, all half steps apart. So if you look at what's going on, we're going from the 4th fret on the 3rd and 1st string, even though I'm doing a pull off there. Then I move back to the 3rd fret, playing actually separately. Then move back to the 2nd fret, playing together. So the 4s to the 3 fret to the 2nd fret. See how that works? So the 4th fret notes are in the key of E major. The 3rd fret notes are actually not in key. They don't sound good. If you were to stop on those, they don't really sound that good. They're transitionary. They're little ways to connect to the next good note. Then we go to the 2nd fret. Those 2 notes are in the key of E major. Actually, we're playing together. And then we got the resolving 2 notes. Okay. And then that goes against an E major chord. And the important thing, like I've been preaching all along to everyone, when you're soloing or playing riffs and licks, you want to follow the chords. So what we'll do is we start with the 2 notes of an E major chord, or 2 notes from the E major chord. The 3 notes in the E major chord are E, G sharp, and B. Okay? That's the root, the 3rd, and the 5th. You can play those E, G sharp, and B anywhere on your fretboard. And when you're playing ideas with that, you don't need to play all 3 notes. In fact, the first 2 notes of this lick are the G sharp and the E. So that gives you your E sound right there. And then when we go back to this, these notes aren't in the E major chord. They're in the E major scale, though. That's why they work. So we start with chord tones, non-chord tones, and then I stop on those two notes, the C sharp and A. That's sort of part of an A chord. And then we resolve back to the E chord. Those are the B and the G sharp. Those are in the E chord. They're not in the chord at all. Still not in the chord. And then the last two notes are the same as the first two, but an octave lower. Okay? See how I pull it all together? So it's in, kind of wanders a little bit through the scale, not really playing against the E chord, then the A, and then we got back to the E. Now, what's cool about that lick, folks, is if you move it up a string, do it on strings 4 and 2. You know, when I mean up this way. Okay, so if you play exactly the same frets, the same pull-offs, the same picking, just move everything north one string. It sounds cool, and it's a different key. It's a different chord. Oops, there we go. That's for the B chord. Because the first two notes are notes of the B chord, which the B chord is a B, D sharp, and F sharp. That's the root third and fifth. You can play them anywhere you want in your fretboard. And this is also good too, folks. This will help you get to know your fretboard, is try to find those notes elsewhere and other places and make up ideas with them. Okay? So if we do it up a string, okay, and then I could maybe think of that as a B or E to a B chord. Now watch that. I'll play the E. Oops. Now we'll go to B, up a string. Then for the F sharp, I'll do the E. Back to the B. See, if you follow the chords like I just did, it sounds kind of neat. Without hearing the chords in the background, you still subliminally hear them because I'm playing notes that are in the chord. And I see several comments coming in, so let me just take a time out and read these real quick, and we'll get on to the next lick here. Michael's saying, if you do down or up pick, does this really matter, or can you do all down? Michael, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, on example 1, you're going to do all downstrokes with the pick. In fact, I do have the pick directions notated up there. That little box that's over the first note, it looks like a square without the bottom line or an open staple. That's a downstroke, Michael. That's a downstroke symbol. So if you notice, there's all downstrokes over the notes, or the notes that don't have a downstroke, they're not picked with the pick, they're plucked with the finger. So you're going to notice that the second note doesn't have a down or upstroke symbol, but if you look up next to the note, there's a little M. M stands for middle finger. When they write the fingering for the right hand, if you were to finger pick or play classical guitar or fingerstyle guitar, they use letters for the fingers. So P would stand for thumb, but we're not going to use that, so we don't need to worry about that. What you want to worry about is I is index. We're not going to use that. M is middle. That's the one you want to use. So the middle finger is the one we're going to pluck with. So we're going to go down on the G string, and then we're going to pluck the high notes always with the middle finger. See how that works? The lick just feels better to play all downs, Michael. And I know a down and an up, they sound almost the same, but it's really important to get the hang of the alternate picking. And then in instances like this where we're not alternate picking, you want to do what is directed, because it's the picking does matter. And I know some guitar players, when I see them play, they're not even aware of what their right hand's doing. But the right hand makes all the difference in the world. If you're going to be a fast picker, not that you want to be a shred player, but if you just want to be able to play kind of comfortably, just playing things like that. See, all that picking I'm doing, Michael, is definitely alternate picking. I'm not picking it whatever, or two downs or two ups in a row. It's important to be able to alternate pick before you start doing all this other fancy picking. So the picking does really matter. Hopefully that answered that question. Michael, on the example 2, though, we're definitely going to do down, up, down. And we're going to talk about that in 2 seconds here. David Carlton's question says, throw myself under the bus. Still not reading the tab accurately. If you had not mentioned it, I would have played 3 notes at A instead of 2. Yeah, folks. So I noticed this too with several of my students and other players that I'm talking to. They tend to learn too much too fast, too soon. And then what happens is they kind of skimmed over stuff and thought they had it right and were playing it correctly, when actually they had a note wrong, or the picking was wrong, or the fingering was incorrect. So take your time, and then after you've got it down, or you think you got it down, go back and double check yourself. Make sure you got the notes right, the bends right, etc. Because it's a lot harder to relearn something if you've been playing it for a year incorrectly. Okay, so yeah, so there's a lot of good ways to pick, and there's also a lot of bad ways. So hopefully I'm going to shed light on the good ways, and everybody, the people out here watching, can pick some of those up. Okay, so Dave is saying, got time to play at mid speed with the metronome, please? Oh, sure. All right, so there's no tempo on that page. Let me fire up the metronome here. Let's get the volume up. All right, so here's slowly 8th notes, for example, 1 at 70, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, that's kind of painfully slow, but you trust me, folks, if you can't do it correctly slowly, it's probably not going to sound correct faster. So definitely make sure you can do it slow first. So let me go up to 100, David, for you and for everyone else. 2, 3, 4. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, I'm just jumping up in 30 beat per minute increments. Now I'm going to do 130. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, here it is at 150. That's a 20 beat increment. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Okay, how about 170? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See, once you get it cooking, it starts to sound kind of cool, huh? Here's 190, just for kicks and giggles. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. extra there, but you get the idea, David. So let's move on. I've got a tendency to talk a lot, but I'll do the same thing with the other examples for everyone too. Let's go ahead and move on to number 2. Okay, let me get the metronome ready. And then, yeah, Michael's saying, sir, you did it fast. Well, cool. I'm also playing it slow too. So hopefully you catch all that. And then David's saying, again, reading wrong, was not playing the last 2 simultaneous notes until you played slow with the metronome. Yeah, you're welcome, Dave. Yeah, so read the tabs correctly, folks. And it's, playing music is like a second language, because not only do we need to communicate with the notes, but we got to learn to read too and speak the music language. So it's part of learning music. Don't be afraid of the tablature. I've got the notes written above. We're not going to talk too much about that because that's a little more involved, but definitely get familiar with the tablature. And there's some really good tutorials on Guitar Tricks on how to read tablature if you're a beginner or kind of just starting out on guitar. Check those out. So number 2, let's jump down to number 2. Okay, this is also going to follow some chords. It looks like I've got the chords written over there. It looks like an E chord, D, C sharp minor, B minor, A. It kind of walks, if you play them as bar chords, it just walks right down the diatonic scale in the key of A, but starting from the E is the 5 chord, D is the 4 chord, C sharp minor is the 3, A minor is the 2, and then A major is the 1. Okay, so this lick goes. Okay, so slowly, and Michael asked this about the down or up strokes. Look at the first 3 notes of this. We're going to go 1, 3 notes in a row, a little chromaticism here. Okay, so we're going 11, 12, 13. Fingers will be index, middle, and ring, 1, 2, and 3 on the 3rd string. We're going down, up, down, and then we're going to grab the 1st string, 12th fret with your middle finger, and then pluck it on your right hand with your middle finger. Sometimes I'll use my ring finger instead of my middle, but it still gets that nice poppy sound. And see, listen to this too, folks. If you were to pick this, sounds fine. Doesn't sound bad at all. But when you pick a note with your pick, it sounds different than listen to the finger. You hear when you pluck a note, what we're doing is we're kind of pulling the string outwards and we're letting it go, sort of like a rubber band. And what we're hearing is the sound of the string snapping back and hitting the fretboard. It's kind of like bass players. When I do the slap bass, they grab the string and they yank it out like a rubber band, let it go, and it snaps back and hits the fret. And you get that really cool. You get that nice funky slap sound. Okay, that's kind of what hybrid picking will do, and I like that sound, especially if that's what you're looking for. Okay, see, the pick sounds really good. It's just different. The fingers kind of make the note pop. Okay, so it's a nice little speed lick too. You might want to practice every 4 notes as a separate entity. Okay, so, and then that high note will be your middle finger on the 1st string. Then we're going to just move that shape back 2 frets, do exactly the same thing on the 9, 10, 11, and then 10 on the 1st string. Okay, that's for the D chord part. Then we're going to go back 2 more frets and go 7, 8, 9. But instead of playing your middle finger on the 8th fret, it sounds kind of wrong because that note's not in the key of A. The note that is 9 on the 1st string. We're going to play at the pinky. So you got this. Hear that? And then the 4th one, the 3rd one was the C sharp, the triplet that comes right before C sharp minor. And then the high note is the C sharp. Okay, then we're going to move that back 2 more frets. Do frets 5, 6, 7. Grab the 7 on the first string. Okay, and then the last one resolves to the A. We're going to move back 1 fret and do frets 4, 5, 6. Okay, now on the chromatic notes we're playing on the 3rd string, the middle note, the one your middle finger plays on most of these, in fact, the middle note on all the triplet parts is actually not in key, but this is where the chromatic scale comes in. You can play chromatically as long as you start on a good note and end on a good note. That's why in the blues, you'll hear a lot of bass lines that go. You got a little walk up. See how I start on a chord tone, chromatic, chromatic, chord tone, and then end it with a little scale lick. All right. And in the blues, they often do that with the turnarounds. There's all kinds of chromaticism there. On that, you got the chromatic on the 1st and 3rd string, back a fret, and then 3rd string goes back 1 more fret. The high string leaves the chromaticism, but the 3rd string doesn't. It stays chromatic all the way down. And then the little walk up to the E chord at the end is chromatic right there. So using notes that don't fit the key can sound actually really cool if you do them right. See, really any note works, but you got to know when and where to play it and how to resolve it. And usually resolving chromatic ideas is resolving to a chord tone. Okay, so this is a good little kind of a little speed burst idea. Just play the first 4 notes and just try to get comfy with that. Now go to the next one. Okay, next one. Do a little speed burst. Make sure you can play each little 4-note pocket correctly before you try to connect it. Because what we don't want is this. Okay, make sure you're solid and slow it down. Now, what's neat about this lick too, folks, it's against the key of A. If you move it up a string and play exactly the same frets, same everything, same picking, just on strings 4 and 2, just follow the tablature, but move it on the page, move all the numbers down 1 string. On your guitar, move them all up a string. You're going to have this. Okay, let's do that with the metronome, and then we'll get on to the chicken pick in example 3, which is really cool. Okay, let me do this. I'll play this one. I'll do real slow at 70, and the first 3 notes are triplet. That means I got to play all 3 of those over 1 click, and then that high note's is a quarter note. It's going to get 1 click, and then where this all comes in at, pardon me, is beat 4. Okay, so that little symbol there looks like a black rectangle in the music, the treble clef staff, and it's got a dot after it. That's a dotted half note rest. That means the first 3 notes of this bar are silent, and then we come in on beat 4. Okay, so it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Here's the metronome. 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's speed it up. I'm going to go up in 30 beat increments. I don't advise that for everybody when you're learning this stuff. Go up, increase your metronome in 5 or 10 beat per minute increments, not 30. I'm just doing it to save time here. But when you practice, usually it's going to be a gradual progression of getting better. I don't know anybody that is at a certain level and then the next day they're, at a significant level higher. Every musician that I'm aware of and my friends, everybody's gotten better gradually. It's almost a snail pace. So just be patient with yourself and take it slow. Make sure you got it right. Here it is at 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's go to 130. That was 100. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's go to 150. Now we'll go in 20 beat increments. So 1, 2, 3. And an up a string, 2, 3. See, a lot of times when I have an idea or practicing something, or even I learned a lick from another player, I try to not just learn the lick, but try to do it in different keys, try to move it around, try to expand on it and let it mature into something bigger than just the lick. All right. So I'm giving you guys these 4 examples, but try to take it beyond it. Like one tip I'm giving everyone is take example 1 and 2, move them up a string on 2 and 4 and play the same lick. Now you've got the same idea, but it's on a different chord, a different key. All right. Gives you more miles out of that lick. Okay. So let's try that same thing. I'll go to 170. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you're definitely on the right hand. It's a quick down, up, down. Just a tiny little down, up, down. And then grab your finger. Cool. And then you notice too, on these first 2 examples, we're string skipping. Just like we talked about the last couple lessons, week 5 and 6, were on string skipping picking techniques. Like Guns N' Roses. Sweet Child of Mine has got a lot of string skipping. Same with Wanted Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi. I know Richie Sambora is playing that on his 12 string, but if you do it on 6 string, you can always pick it with the high note hybrid picking style. Okay, so let's get back to our project here. Example 3 uses hybrid picking, chicken picking, and the blues scale. All right, so this is chicken picking when you get that clucking sound. That kind of sound. Okay, what's some good examples of that? Let me change up the sound real quick, and then we'll break down the example for you. Okay, Ace Frehley and Kiss, the early Kiss stuff, he did a heck of a lot of chicken picking. I think on the song Firehouse and some of those early Kiss songs, you can really hear that. That kind of sound. How about this one from Joe Walsh, James Gang? That first part. Right here. Whatever that lick is. That's what it is. But right there, he's bending the string and then doing this. So I'm going to show you how to do that that playing right there. Example 3 starts like this. You want to Well, first off, what we're going to do, let me show you the framework of the skeleton we're going to play. 7 on string 4, then 5, 7, 8 on string 3, and then 5, 8 on string 2. We're playing part of the A blues scale. And an example, the second half of example 3 is doing that backwards from 5 on the first string to 8, 5 on the second to 8, 7, 5 on the third. Okay, so that's the blues scale. Sounds kind of neat to do this with. So let's examine the first 2 bars of example 3 first. What we're going to do to get that sound, okay, you're going to put your pick and your finger on your left or your right hand on the 4th string. See what I got here? I got my pick on the 4th right above it. I'm doing a downstroke, and I got my finger on the 4th also where I can pick it up. And we're going to fret the 7th fret on string 4. Now watch what I do. I'm going to, with my finger on the string, I'm going to do a downstroke, but you're not going to hear it. You're only going to hear the click, the cluck. That's the X, that first X you see in example 3 right there. Where are we? Yeah, right there. Okay, that X is that sound of your middle finger on the same string your pick is. And when your pick plucks the downstroke, because your finger's on it, you're muting it. You're going to get that sound. And then you're going to pluck the string with your finger. So all the notes we're going to hear are going to be plucked with your finger. And remember, when I mentioned earlier, when you pluck with your finger, it's like you're pulling the string out and let it snap back, and it flaps against the fretboard like a rubber band snapping back. So we're going. Okay. Oh yeah, Jimmy Page, Heartbreaker. There's a part of the solo. Then he does something to this effect. I'm not playing that last part, ending it or starting it right, but you hear that lick when he climbs up the fretboard? That's chicken picking. Jimmy's just moving up chromatically, 1 fret at a time. He starts on a good note and then ends it on a good note at the end. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. Is you want to get the hang of this. See, these are all good picking techniques to have in your hip pockets, so when you're playing, you can pull them out. You're not just going to randomly just play with your pick, but you throw in your finger. Now you got a bunch of other neat ideas to make your solos and your rhythm guitar parts sound a little better or more interesting. Okay, so we got the 7 on string 4. Okay, now we're just going to do that same technique on all the notes. So we're going to go 7 on string 4, then the 5th fret on string 3. Do the same thing. Put your pick on the G string above it like you're going to do a downstroke. Put your middle finger on the same G string like you're going to mute it. So when you do your down with your finger or your pick, all we hear is that, and then pluck it with your finger. Then 7 on string 3, same thing. And then what I do here is I just move my 3rd finger up to the 8th fret. You could use your pinky if you want. Okay, it doesn't matter. Or you can go 3rd finger again. Okay, and then the last 2 notes, just to give it a nice rhythm, to break up that syncopated rhythm, I'm going to play the last 2 notes, 5, 8 on the 2nd string with 2 downs. So I go. Okay, and then after we do that twice, we're going to do the second half, which outlines the A minor or the A pentatonic blues scale, descending, starting from 5 on the 1st string. Same technique. Put your finger on the fret it with your left hand. Put your pick on the high E above it like you're going to go a downstroke. Put your middle finger on it, so when you do your downstroke, it sounds like you've muted it. Then 8 on the 2nd, 5 on the second, then 8 on the third, and then the last 2 notes, we're going to move your third finger back a fret, or you can play that with your second and first finger, 7th and 5th fret. So we got okay. Kind of like that. So we'll do the first half of example 3 twice going up. Second half. So let me do that with the metronome, and I'll read those comments. I see David has mentioned something. Let me get the tempo back. We'll start at the slower 70. And example 3 is a little more challenging rhythmically because it's not just straight eighth notes like da 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 da, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's also not like the triplet to quarter note we did in example 2 goes da 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 da. Has a really predictable repetitive rhythm. Example 3 though, it's do da 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 do da do da 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 do da boo ba boo ba boo ba ba ba. That's the rhythm of it. Da, 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 da. Okay, so let me read Dave's comment. Dave's saying, by the way, I think there's something wrong with the metronome guitar when using a Mac since Guitar Tricks upgraded. They try to contact help desk. Yeah, David, reach out to them. I'm unaware of that. I know they got a metronome on the site, but there you go. Yeah, reach out to them. Let them know about it, and then they'll take a look at it and get it fixed, because that's not good if it's not working, because we all need to practice with the metronome. All right. I'll never get tired of preaching that because I still use it, folks. I was just using it a couple hours ago today when I was practicing. Okay. You got to use the metronome. It's a really good way of keeping track of, think about this. If you're going to go to the gym and work out and you want to lift weights, say you want to, build some biceps, some strong upper torso, right? Are you just going to randomly pick up weights every time you go to the gym and just start lifting? Or are you going to keep track and say, hey, I lifted 25 pounds in each arm, or maybe 50 pounds cumulatively. And then that's what you're going to try to do next time you go to the gym. Or maybe eventually, after a few weeks of that, maybe try to go to 55 pounds. All right, increase it. But if you don't know how much you're lifting, it doesn't really do you much good. With anything we do, if we're out running or riding a bike, if you don't know how many miles you've gone or how fast you're going or how many miles you've ran or rode on your bike, it's good that you get the exercise, but it's really helpful. Most people that exercise keep track of what they're doing. We should treat our ride and journey on guitar playing as we're getting better. Keep track with your metronome of your tempo speeds on different items that you're practicing. And that way, if you take a break from it, because we all get bored of playing the same thing, but keep track of your metronome speed, go ahead and work on some other stuff for a few weeks. But when you come back to that item, say some of this hybrid picking stuff, you'll know how fast you could do it 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then you're going to try to work from that point on. And sometimes you might have to start out a little slower and build up to your speed you had a few weeks ago, but you'll probably get there quicker than original. And you can also use that to just try to go a little faster. And if we can play it correctly faster, that means we're improving, folks. So you can pat yourself on the back, even if it might not feel like it, but you're getting better because you can play it a little quicker with the metronome. Okay. It's a really good way to get better. And last thing, David's saying, sorry, making too many comments, but I can tell the tonal difference if chicken picking with 2 pick strokes and muting the first pluck with a finger and pick. Yep. Yeah, folks, just listen carefully to your tone, your sound, and you'll totally hear that. That the playing a note with a pick versus plucking, the pluck notes with your finger, they kind of have more of a ping, a pop to them. Okay. So let me play example 3 with the metronome, and then we'll rock out on example 4. Okay, so quickly, here's 70. Okay, it's going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'm playing it wrong. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. Here we go. Okay, that's it at 70. Here it is at 100. 2, 3, 4. Okay, here it is at 130. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's 150. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is at 170. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try 190. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you get the idea. And even though the tempo's going real quick, the lick itself is eighth notes and quarter notes, so it's not that fast. It's not like shred speed. Playing 16th notes at 170 or 180 is pretty fast, but we're not doing 16th notes. We're doing quarters and eighths, which are 1 note per beat, and eighths are 2 notes per beat. Okay, the last lick, let me get a little more. Well, let's try this. All right, one more time. There we go. Let me clean up that sound. So I think this one sounds a little better on that original clean tone I had. Let's get that back. Turn off the effects. We'll leave that on. Turn off the chorus. Okay, so now you got a country or more country sound. And you can see the chords I've got over example 4, folks. It's a G to an F to a C. Okay, imagine this. Yeah, so we got okay, you can imagine that type of rhythm maybe in the background or underneath. You got okay. So the first, let's break it down real quick. I'll knock this out in 5 minutes so we keep on time. Okay, we've got the string bend on the 2nd string, 10th fret. Hold step. You're going to hold it up there at the whole step. Then you add your pinky on the 10th fret 1st string, and you want to keep the note bent on the second string while you're playing the first string, because we're going to go like this. Bend, pick the second string with your pick, and the first string notes in this lick are always picked with the middle finger. Pick the first string. Now the next bend has a vertical arrow. That means you're going to keep the note bent while you pick it, and then the high note again, and then another note that's on the bent string. So you're going to play it, bend it up. That's the first part. See, that outlines part of your G chord. Then the last, or the second bar, the last part of this lick, we're going to play the second string, mute it, chicken picking style, like we did in example 3. Put your pick on the second string while it's still bent. I know it's a lot to think about. Put your pick on that second string above it. Pick the second, or keep your middle finger on it too. So when you pick it with your pick, all you hear is that click. And now pick it with your middle finger while it's still bent. Then you let it down, and then we'll pick the 8 on the second string with your pick. I didn't have a downstroke arrow over the 8, but it should be there. Okay. Or you could even pick the 8 with your middle finger if you like. You could do that. That sounds kind of cool. Okay. You know how that lick follows the chords? Because I bend up to a chord tone. The 10 on the first string is also a chord tone. It's a B and a D. And then I finally let the bend down, end on a 8th fret second string is your G. Now that all fits the G chord. And then for the F lick, it's the exact same thing, 2 frets down. So we're going to bend the 8th fret second string. Hold the bend while you play 8 on the first string. Hold the bend while you pick it again, 8 on the first. Pick the bent note again. And then you're chicken picking. Let the 8 down, 6 on the second string. Hey, Maverick. Pooch doggy is coming in to check on me. So we got the first part down to F. Okay. Okay, and then for the C chord, instead of playing a similar idea, let's change it up a little bit. We're going to bend the third string 7th fret. Actually, you know what? The first part of the first 2 bars here on the C is the same idea. We're just moving up to the 3rd and 2nd string. Bending 7 on the 3rd. Hold it while you play 8 on the 2nd with your pinky. And then we just toggle back and forth between the G and the B string. We do 3 of those. Pick the first one, bend it. Okay, then you're chicken picking. Okay, and those are chord tones against the C. And then the last 2 bars of C play the different part. Just a little C major pentatonic idea. And you could do all that with a pick. Okay, so the last chord. Okay, let me knock out with the metronome, and then we are done, ladies and gentlemen. People, thanks for coming tonight. Okay, let's hear it at 70. 3, 4. F. C. Okay, try it a little quicker at 100. Okay, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. at 130. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try 150. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try it at 170. 1. Here we go. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try 190 for kicks and giggles. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there you go, folks. All right, people. Great lesson. Hope you learned some stuff from it. Next week, we're going to wrap up. I appreciate everyone coming and poking in for a little bit or a lot of it. Next week, we're going to wrap up at week 8. We're going to do one more week of hybrid picking. We're going to get a little more intense than tonight. And then after that, we're going to come up with, follow that with 3 weeks in a row of string bending ideas. And you're but going to need an electric guitar for that because it's a lot easier to bend on electric. So everybody, great questions. And David, no problem about asking a lot of questions. That's what I'm here for. And I'm sure some of the other folks, you're asking questions, David, that some of the other viewers were probably thinking, but just didn't type it in the comments there. So appreciate your comments, Dave. Never too many. Don't worry about it. It's all good. JV, cool. Thank you so much for today's lesson. See you next time. Cool. Next week. Yep, I'll be here. No more vacations for me for a while. So I'll be here every Wednesday. Cool, Steven. Appreciate it. And Danny, yep. Vacation was good and I needed it. Just a chance to unplug and recharge the battery. Terry, all right, cool. You're very welcome, Terry. Steve, all right, good to see you there, Steve. And cool. All right. Yep. All right. So everyone, JV, Jim, yep, cool. Great night. Everyone be cool. Keep practicing. And got some fun stuff in the near future, too, coming up with some other lessons past the string bending stuff. Okay. So keep practicing, working on your stuff. Get some questions ready for me next week. And I don't mind answering questions at all. It's what I'm here for. So everyone, keep practicing. Keep those fingers flying on your fretboard. Keep moving them. All right. Peace, everyone. Good night. Bye.